For those of you who are always on the go, remember mindful moments.
Bite-sized knowledge, right?
Exactly. Perfect for those mental snacks throughout the day. Narrated by AI, too.
We always hear about how getting lost in a good book or movie is just escapism, right? Like we're just tuning out of reality for a bit. But what if, and stick with me here, what if those fictional worlds, the really well-made ones, could actually help us understand ourselves and the real world better?
Interesting.
Yeah. So today we're going to dive into one of those worlds. It's the OASIS, this incredible virtual reality creation from Ernest Cline's Ready Player One, #1.
The OASIS, yeah, I mean, that's a world that definitely grabs you. And Klein doesn't just drop us into this virtual playground. He sets it against this backdrop of a world with some pretty heavy problems, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that context makes the OASIS even more significant, right? It's not just a game, it's where people work, go to school, hang out. It's like their whole life, basically. And then you've got James Halliday, this, well, I guess you could say eccentric genius who created it all.
Right, and his death is what kicks off this wild treasure hunt inside the OASIS.
Exactly. Halliday is this super reclusive figure, almost a myth, and he decides to leave his entire fortune and control of his company, GSS, in the most unusual way imaginable.
Gregarious Simulation Systems, the company behind the OASIS, yeah.
Right, GSS. Anyway, he leaves this video message, his last will and testament, they call it, and it gets broadcast everywhere, like literally to the whole world, everyone inside the OASIS, everyone outside.
It's like something out of a movie, right? This image of this vault overflowing with gold bars. I mean, talk about grabbing everyone's attention.
Oh, absolutely. He basically challenged everyone to find this hidden Easter egg inside the OASIS. Whoever finds it, boom, they get everything.
Instant global obsession. I mean, who wouldn't want to get in on that? It was a digital gold rush.
And then silence. Years go by, years, and nobody, not a single person, finds a real clue. Think about that. This incredibly detailed world, built by a guy obsessed with details, and it's like a locked vault.
Makes you wonder, what was Halliday thinking? Was he setting some impossible task to test people? Because it clearly took more than just being a good gamer to find anything.
And here's the thing. As this hunt's going nowhere, the OASIS doesn't just sit there. It keeps growing, people keep using it, it gets even more popular, all while this huge prize is just sitting there, unclaimed.
It's like it almost became an urban legend, you know? The hunt for Halliday's egg.
Totally. But it also shows how important the OASIS became to people. And Halliday made sure of that. His will specifically protected it from anyone trying to take it over.
He didn't just want an heir. He wanted to make sure the OASIS lived on.
So let's go back to that video announcement, okay? Because even there, Halliday is dropping these subtle hints, these little breadcrumbs, for anyone sharp enough to notice them.
Oh yeah, like those 1984 quarters, right. And the actors in the background that looked like they were straight out of the movie Heathers. Even that childhood picture of Halliday from 1980.
Exactly. And it wasn't just those little things. People started analyzing the video and found all this tech from the late 20th century scattered around, like vintage computers and game controllers.
A whole museum of tech, basically. Apple II, Commodore 64, Atari 800 XL, and then that TRS-80 color computer, too. That's a key one, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It all pointed to Halliday's obsession with the pop culture of his youth, especially the 1980s. And that's where our main character comes in, this guy who goes by Parzival in the OASIS.
Parzival, yeah. He's living in this pretty bleak real-world situation, and the OASIS is his escape, his life. He's completely consumed by the hunt for Halliday's egg.
And he doesn't just play the games. He's obsessed with understanding Halliday, figuring out how his mind works.
He becomes this Halliday scholar, almost, reading every biography, watching documentaries, playing every game Halliday ever made, studying his writings.
He even keeps what he calls a grail diary to track every little clue, every connection he finds.
Yeah, that's so key to his success, that methodical approach.
Yeah.
He doesn't miss anything.
And it's all driven by this, I guess, admiration, maybe even hero worship of Halliday. He sees this whole thing as a test that Halliday designed just for him.
Like he's searching for a worthy successor.
Exactly. So after all this research, Parzival stumbles on this limerick hidden away in some old FTP archive.
An FTP archive, most people wouldn't even know what that is anymore.
Right. But Parzival, he knows exactly what it is. And this limerick, it's connected to this classic D&D module, the Tomb of Horrors.
Tomb of Horrors. Now that's old school D&D.
Yeah.
Legendary for being insanely difficult.
Exactly. And Parzival figures Halliday, who loved D&D, recreated it inside the OASIS, and somewhere in there is the first key, the copper key.
So he dives into the Tomb of Horrors module, memorizes it. He's not leaving anything to chance.
But the limerick itself, it's kind of vague, right? One line says, "You have much to learn if you hope to earn a place among the high scorers." Not exactly a clear roadmap.
No, it's not. But it does say something important about the hunt, right? You need to know the OASIS inside and out, its history, everything. This isn't just about luck.
Okay, so picture this. Parzival's in this virtual arcade, and he sees this avatar named Acerak, the big bad guy from the Tomb of Horrors, playing Robotron, 2084.
Robotron, classic arcade game. Waves and waves of robots.
And Parzival, he's not just watching, he's studying how Acerak plays, looking for patterns.
Because in those old arcade games, sometimes there's a way to exploit the AI if you know the patterns.
That's exactly what he does. He beats Acerak, and suddenly, boom, the copper key. Years of searching, and it comes down to winning an arcade game.
It's such a great moment. And he gets 50,000 experience points, hits level 10. But then there's this message from Anorak, Halliday's wizard avatar. He says, "Farewell, Sir Parzival. I bid you good luck on your quest." And then a cryptic clue.
The inscription on the copper key says, "On the deepest level of Daggerath." Most people, they'd have no idea what that means, but Parzival, with all his research...
He knows Daggerath isn't some elvish word. It's a super obscure computer game, Dungeons of Daggerath. And it was only on one specific computer, the TRS-80 color computer.
And remember that TRS-80 color computer 2 in Halliday's virtual childhood bedroom?
Oh, yeah.
Parzival remembers reading in Halliday's online journal that Dungeons of Daggerath was one of his all-time favorites. He's sure the first gate is hidden there.
And it's not just a basic recreation. Halliday went all out. He used old maps, photos, even home videos to rebuild his childhood home perfectly.
So Parzival finds the TRS-80 in the bedroom, and it actually works, but you got to use basic commands to get it to do anything.
That's just it. That's like ancient computer code, right?
Yep, real old school. Halliday really made you work for it.
He did.
And then right there, next to the computer, a cassette tape labeled Dungeons of Daggerath. He pops it in, and bam, he's inside the game.
A game within a game.
It's this text-based adventure, all commands, no fancy graphics. You have to type stuff like, "Go north," or "Take sword."
Really test the imagination, right? You got to picture everything in your head.
Totally. Even saving the game was this whole thing with a virtual cassette drive. But it all adds to the experience, like you're really back in the 80s.
Totally immersive.
So he's playing Dungeons of Daggerath, right. And then suddenly, the whole thing changes. He's in the 20 Grand Palace Arcade from War Games, that 80s movie. Talk about a curveball.
Whoa. Yeah, Halliday definitely kept you guessing.
And there, in the arcade, is David Lightman, the main character from War Games. Parzival figures out he has to recreate a scene from the movie and crack the password to the WOPR supercomputer.
The WOPR, that was the AI that almost started World War III in the movie.
Yeah. Parzival tries all these passwords related to Halliday's old partner, Ogden Morrow, but nothing works. It's got to be something more personal to Halliday.
Something only someone who truly knew it would understand.
Then it hits him. Remember in War Games, the professor who built the WOPR, he had a son named Joshua who died.
Oh, right.
Parzival types in Joshua. And just like that, the first gate is cleared. He gets the copper gate key, 100,000 points.
Wow.
And his name, Parzival, pops up at the top of the scoreboard for everyone to see. First one to clear a gate.
Major moment for the whole hunt. It gave everyone hope that Halliday's egg could actually be found.
But it doesn't last long. Another name appears on the scoreboard, Arthremus. She cleared the first gate, too.
Arthremus. Yeah, she was already a known gunter, had a big following online. Her clearing the gate so quickly, it meant serious competition.
She even sent Parzival this message, congratulating him, but also kind of sizing him up, like game on.
I can imagine. And it wasn't just Arthremus. Each, Parzival's buddy online, he cleared it too, followed by these two guys, Dato and Shoto.
Suddenly, the hunt is on for real, and then you have this huge corporation, IOI, that enters the picture.
Innovative Online Industries, led by Nolan Sorrento. Yeah, they're basically the bad guys, right?
Pretty much. They want Halliday's fortune too, and they don't play fair. They have these sixers who spend all day grinding for clues, and they're not afraid to get rough.
They're the opposite of the independent gunters. They're all about power and control.
And they're not just a threat in the OASIS. They manage to figure out Parzival's real identity, and Sorrento personally threatens him.
Whoa. Real-world threats. That's taking
Well,
it to another level.
it showed just how high the stakes were. So Parzival's on the run, but he's still got his online friends. Art 3 Miss, she's still secretive, won't reveal anything personal, but they're getting closer.
It's interesting, right? These virtual relationships become so important to Parzival.
Oh, totally. They're his lifeline, his support system in this crazy hunt. And then there's this guy, Ir0K, who tries to blackmail Parzival and H.
IRJ, yeah. Not exactly the most trustworthy gunter.
Definitely not. Shows you that not everyone playing the game is in it for the right reasons.
Some people will do anything for an edge.
Exactly. But then Parzival ends up teaming up with Dato and Shoto to solve this really tough quest that involved like a ton of Japanese pop culture, especially Ultraman.
Ultraman, so specific, right?
Right. And Parzival actually shares this rare item with them, the beta capsule. It's like he's building alliances, even with his rivals.
Smart move. Halliday was all about collaboration, at least in the beginning.
So next comes the Jade Key. Parzival gets it after a perfect game of Pac-Man in this virtual arcade museum.
Man, that's tough. Pac-Man can be brutal.
Tell me about it. And the inscription on the Jade Key hints at the second gate. The hunt just keeps going, clue after clue.
Like a digital scavenger hunt.
Totally. He then goes through a recreation of Zork, this old text adventure, to find the crystal key.
Zork, another classic. Halliday really took you through the history of gaming, didn't he?
He did, and the final clue for that crystal key leads to the Band Rush, their album 2112. The lyrics of the song The Temples of Syrinx tell him where the key is hidden.
That's so Halliday right. Music, movies, games, it all blends together.
It does. But things are getting dangerous, IOI is getting desperate, watching everyone's every move, and then something terrible happens. Dato, Shoto's brother, is killed in the real world by IOI.
Oh man, that's awful. It shows how far IOI was willing to go and how real the danger was for the Gunters.
It shook everyone up, and now it's not just about the egg anymore, it's about stopping IOI. And that leads to this final showdown at Anorak's Castle.
Anorak's Castle, the ultimate challenge.
It's a huge battle. Gunters against IOI, even giant robots, Parzival, Art 3 Miss each, they're all in the thick of it.
And Sorrento, he's piloting a Mechagodzilla. Talk about epic.
Oh yeah, it was insane. But inside the castle, the final test was completely unexpected. They had to recreate scenes from Monty Python and the Holy Grail and answer all this trivia about the movie.
Monty Python, what a curveball.
Right. But it was pure Halliday. And whoever got it right got the crystal egg and control of the OASIS.
So does Parzival win?
He does. But here's the thing. He gets this one wish, anything he wants. And instead of taking total control of the OASIS, he decides to limit his power.
That's really mature, right?
Yeah.
He realized that having all that power wasn't the answer.
He didn't want to become another Halliday, locked away from the world. He wanted the OASIS to stay open and free. And then finally, after all this time online, Parzival meets Art Grimace in the real world. She looks nothing like her avatar. Turns out she's not this idealized, perfect being.
So often we create these personas online that are, idealized versions of ourselves.
Exactly, but even though they don't look like their avatars, they click. Their connection from the OASIS, it's real.
That's kind of the point of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
The OASIS, this virtual world, it actually helped them connect with each other in a real way.
It did, and it made them appreciate the real world even more. So what do you think? Is getting lost in these virtual worlds just escapism?
I think it's more complicated than that. The OASIS might have been virtual, but the friendships, the challenges, the emotions, they were all real.
They were, and it pushed Parzival and his friends to grow, to become better people.
And isn't that what a good story should do? Make you think about things in a new way?
Exactly. So next time you hear someone say virtual worlds are just a way to escape reality, think about Parzival's journey. Maybe, just maybe, they can teach us something about ourselves, about connection, about what really matters.
Something to think about for sure.
And if you want to explore the OASIS for yourself, we've got a link in the show notes where you can buy the full novel, Ready Player One. It's an amazing read, trust me. And for more deep dives into fascinating stories like this one, hit that subscribe button and share this episode with your friends. And keep those minds curious, folks.